Hey guys, so we just had the reveals for the part 2 characters for Dokkan's 10th anniversary. So I did an initial reaction video to it. We kind of did see a little bit of what these characters were going to do. Typically when we have these, same thing with Legends as well. I like to go back in afterwards and look through all the details after the stream has ended, just because they usually don't give us enough time to really digest all of the mechanics that these characters are doing. So we're gonna just break down what these guys are doing here. There's a lot of stuff coming up. We of course have the 3 summonable characters. There also are 2 Super EZAs coming, the Tech Cell Super EZA, and then there's the LR Int Gohan Super EZA as well, but they did not give us any information on what they're going to be doing, so we don't know that yet. I'm assuming they're gonna tweet them out either today or tomorrow, because apparently they drop in like 2 days. So let's start with Super Gogeta, the Dokkan Fest of the part 2 to the celebration. So leader skill is going to be Successors, which is a new category. Fuse Fighters or Pure Saiyans, 3 key, 200% HP, 170% attack and defense. So this is essentially the same thing as the part 1 of Vegeta's leader skills, that they change Earth protecting heroes, Earth defending heroes to Successors. And then the extra stats, the 50% extra stats, go to characters who are in Fusion or Gifted Warriors. So, you know, any Gogetas and Vegetas and Friezas, stuff like that, are going to be Gifted Warrior characters and get the full buffs there. Super attack effects. So we have a kind of similar dynamic here as we have with Vegeta in the part 1. 12 key is going to be raising attack infinitely, 50% defense, colossal damage. 18 key is 50% attack infinitely, greatly raised defense for 1 turn, and then mega colossal. So this side, of course, we are starting with Vegeta as opposed to starting with Goku for Vegito. But this Vegeta is essentially the Goku part of Vegito. So they're kind of doing a mirrored dynamic, which is what we expected here. Okay, so with Vegeta, we have 5 key, 200% stats, receives an additional 3 key per rainbow key sphere obtained. Successors or Fusion category allies, key +1 and defense +40%, which once again is very similar to the Goku side of the Vegito character. 3 turns in the character's entry, 300% defense and guard. So right away, this character for the first 3 turns has 500% defense and guard, which is pretty good. And then when attacking, he's getting a multiplicative 200% attack and 100% defense. So after this Vegeta attacks, he is going to be doing a lot of damage. Or sorry, he's going to be having, I mean, he should be doing a lot of damage, but he's going to have a lot of defense, because you're talking about 500% start of turn defense and then a 100% multiplicative defensive buff when he attacks. So this guy's going to have a lot of defense. Remember, he's also getting a great raise on the 18 and 12 key. When attacking with 10 or more key, he's going to have effective against all types. When attacking with 20 or more key, he's going to launch an additional super attack. And as the 2nd or 3rd attacker in a turn, he's going to have guard at all times. So even after turn 3, he's going to have guard. And then he's going to launch an additional attack that has a 70% chance of becoming a super. And then from the 4th turn, he's going to be able to tag with Goku, which is the same exact condition as Vegito, so it's pretty easy to remember. One dynamic that I also do want to point out here is that this Vegeta, and this whole character in general, is getting more key per rainbow key spheres, whereas Vegito is getting more key per type key spheres. So I guess they want you to, I guess, allocate the rainbow key spheres to this character while you're allocating all the type key spheres to the Vegito, which does make sense. That's how the older, like, that's how Tech Gogeta and STR Vegito worked back in the day too. Okay, so now we have the Goku side. We have this 12 key super, which is going to just normally stack defense and then greatly raise attack for 1 turn. And then the 18 key is greatly raising defense and then greatly raising attack for 1 turn. So this is the same exact thing that Vegeta does in the Vegito character. So again, they just reverse the roles of each side of this character. Okay, so Goku is able to just go back and forth with Vegeta whenever he wants to, because this is going to be turn 4 or later. He gets 5 key, 200% attack and defense. He's going to get, again, 3 key per rainbow key sphere. Successors or Fusion category allies, 1 key and 40% attack. So Goku supporting attack, whereas Vegeta supporting defense. That is the reverse of how the Vegito works. When attacking, 100% attack, and then does an additional with a 70% chance to become a super. he gets 200% defense when receiving an attack, and then when receiving an attack with 10 or more ki, he gets 10% dodge, which those will activate even if they dodge. So, and then when attacking with 20 or more ki, launches an additional super attack. And then as slot 1, he actually has a 70% chance to dodge and guaranteed guard. So in slot 1, he's actually going to have 80% dodge, right? Because you have the great chance here, which is 70. And then when he receives an attack with 10 or more ki, he's getting 10% dodge. So he's actually going to have 80% dodge, which is pretty insane, considering he should have good defense right away, right? I would imagine. He's getting 200% here. He's getting 200% multiplicative when receiving an attack. He should be pretty solid. No damage reduction, but the dodge should be probably good enough. All right, and then they do show the animations, which I do a reaction to in the other video. So this character, once again, like Vegeta, has 2 active skills. So we have the Goku side here, an unsuccessful fusion. Causes ultimate damage to enemy. This is the Veku animation. This is actually a pretty crazy active skill. Ultimate damage to enemy and delays a single targeted enemy's attack for 1 turn, and then guaranteed dodge for 3 turns. So this character has a Ghost Usher. And the reason why they gave them the guaranteed dodging for 3 turns is because obviously if this is only for 1 turn, it would not matter because the enemy wouldn't be able to attack anyway. So this character is a Ghost Usher with this active skill, and then on the following turn they are immortal unless the boss cancels dodge. So yeah, that's a pretty good effect, I would say. And of course this is the Goku active skill, so you can use this immediately upon entering his attacking turn. So the turn 4 comes around and you can immediately use this. Then we have the Vegeta condition, which is the same exact condition as Vegeta, which is just perform the time limited fusion for 4 turns, and this is from the 5th turn from the start of battle. So the same exact condition that Vegeta has is how you fuse into Gogeta. His animations are really cool. They do the same thing with Gogeta as they do with Vegeta, where they do a throwback to older Gogeta characters. So like, let me see if I could actually find this. If we just like play some of these animations here, they do show the STR Gogeta play, which has a very quick example right here. This is obviously STR Gogeta. So yeah, they do the same thing, which I thought was really cool. All right, so now we get into the effects here. So his Ultra Super, remember, Vegeta only had an Ultra Super, and that's exactly how Gogeta is going to work as well. He only does have an Ultra Super. There's no 12 key super under this character. The Final Flash, they mentioned that they wanted to separate Gogeta from Vegeta by having Vegeta do the Kamehameha, and then Gogeta would do the Final Flash. So this is actually going to massively raise attack and defense for 1 turn and then cause mega colossal damage. So a 100% raise. This Gogeta, I mean, we'll talk about this passive first. All right, so passive, fully heals, 300% attack and defense and 5 ki. Gets an additional 4 ki per rainbow key sphere obtained. Guards, 60% damage reduction. Nullifies negative effects. This is not the first time we've seen this, but because I think this effect has existed on active skills before. I don't remember who. It might have been like Bardock and Gine or something that have this, where they remove negative effects. I think like Yajirobe Senzu effect actually does this as well. So for example, if you're locked, if you're sealed, this will actually remove those effects. So if the boss tries to lock this Gogeta in slot 3 or lock him in slot 1 or whatever, he actually will be immune to that. So that's pretty crazy. Launches 2 additional Ultra Supers. So instead of getting just the 1 that Vegeta does, he actually does 2 additional. This is one of the craziest things about this character, which we'll talk about in a second. Does guaranteed crits just in base. That's a base effect. And then successors or fusion category allies get 2 ki and 40% attack and defense. He's getting 100% multiplicative attack when attacking, 100% multiplicative defense when receiving an attack. For every rainbow key sphere obtained, he's getting 50% attack and 5% damage reduction. So, for example, if you get 3 rainbows, he's going from 60% damage reduction to 75%, because it's going to be 15 here. And then for 4 turns from the character's entry turn, he is going to have a Scouter for seize enemy super attack. So I want to talk about this. Launches 2 additional Ultra Supers. So if you just think about the amount of defense this Gogeta is going to have at the beginning of the turn, he's getting 300% here. And then when he receives an attack, remember this is going to apply right away, he's getting a multiplicative 100% defense. But the reason why this is so insane is because of this. he's getting 100% attack and defense for 1 turn. 100%. This is not the typical 50%. Like even Vegito, transformed Super Vegeta, is only getting 50. Gogeta gets 100 on this, and he's doing 3 guaranteed Ultra Supers. I mean, assuming you are able to get him a super attack, which is almost impossible because it literally is impossible because he's getting 5 keys. So he actually is doing 3 guaranteed Ultra Supers, potentially a 4th if you get the hidden potential system. That's gonna, if you get 4 supers with this Gogeta, he's going to be getting 4 stacks for 1 turn of 100% stat increases, with 60% damage reduction, with the extra damage reduction per Rainbow Key Sphere, with a multiplicative 100% defense when receiving an attack with guard. So I think that the best thing about this Gogeta is just the simple fact that he's literally going to be immortal. How does he die? How do you possibly die with this character, right? You get the Scouter and then you just put him in front of the super and he literally will not die. Bosses are going to need to be supering for like 20 million to kill this character. Like it's impossible to die pretty much with this character. So yeah, he seems pretty insane. But that's not all, because we have his active skill, which actually looks even more crazy than anything on this passive screen. The Soul Punisher causes ultimate damage to enemy. All allies attack and defense plus 54%, and attacks effective against all types for 1 turn. It does exclude himself, but that is pretty insane. And he's going to be changing AGL key spheres to rainbow, so it's going to help him with the extra damage reduction, right? When he gets extra damage reduction per rainbow key sphere. So the reason why this is so insane is because of the way that active skill supporting effects work. 54% multiplicative attack and defensive support here, which is a separate calculation from like everything else because it's an active skill effect. This is insane. Like, I think the reason why they wanted to do this is because they're intending you to use this Gogeta with Super Vegito. So the turn where you fuse into Vegito and then you fuse into Gogeta and you have both of the fusions together, I mean, there's just literally nothing that could even hope to stand up to this, because now you're giving Vegito, imagine you use Vegito's active skill and you use this Gogeta's active skill in the same turn, you're giving Vegito an active skill 54% attack and defensive buff here. I mean, it's just, oh, at this point, it's just overkill. Like, this is crazy. So that's essentially Gogeta. We can now move on to the next character, which is Goku and Frieza. By the way, I really do like the Final Form Frieza battle motion sprite here. So something I noticed with this character is the base form Goku has the same battle motion as the Super Saiyan Goku, which means I think what's going to happen is when we eventually get a new Final Form Frieza from Namek, which apparently Dokkan doesn't realize actually exists, this should be the Namek Final Form Frieza pose, I would imagine, because Goku, even as a base form character, still has the same battle motion. So this looks really, really cool to me. The pose with the tail like moving back and forth looks pretty cool. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about these characters. So we have Goku and Frieza. By the way, their leader skill is really, really powerful. Battle of Fate 4 key 220. That is very, very good. Battle of Fate. Okay, so this character does start out as Frieza. 12 key is going to be the Death Beam. 50% attack and defense for 1 turn. Colossal damage and lowers attack. 18 key super is going to massively raise attack and then greatly raise defense. So 100% attack raise and 50% defensive raise for 1 turn. Mega Colossal, and then a 70% chance to stun. Then the passive. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about this character. So before we even start talking about the passive, this is I feel like this is going to be a very hard character to nail. Not just stat-wise, but like design-wise. And the reason why is because these are just completely different characters. You have a side of this character that's Frieza, and then you have a side of this character that's Goku. Not only do they have different links entirely, but you also have Frieza, who's extreme class, and Goku, who's super class. So it's just innately, when you take a look at that, it's a very tough situation to like nail design-wise, I think. All right, so let's see here. So 7 key start a turn obviously is very powerful. That's going to be very good for them. 200% attack and defense, launches an additional attack that has a great chance of becoming a super, so 70% chance, my favorite mechanic. Thanks Dokkan. Receives an additional 2 key per rainbow key sphere, which, I mean, that, you know, part 1, STR, Evolution Blue Vegeta does Rainbow Orb change. For 2 turns from the character's entry turn, this is, I think, one of the more insane parts about this character. Reps of Universe 7 or Battle of Fate category allies, 77% attack and defensive support. That is pretty insane. So even on the turn where they're not present, right? This character's intro goes off, and the next turn when they're not on rotation, the team members that are on this on these two categories are still going to be supporting by 77%. And if you run 2 of this character, you use their leader skill, you want to run 2 of this character, you're going to be getting 154% attack and defensive support potentially. So that's insane to me. When attacking, they get a multiplicative attack and defensive buff of 150%, 7 key, and 77% attack when HP is 77% or less. This is where we start to talk about things that might start to worry me a little bit. When receiving an attack, 50% damage reduction, and when HP is 77% or less. So yeah, we'll talk about this in a second. When all allies attacking in the same turn are super class characters, performs guaranteed crits and launches an additional super. So for the time being, this is going to be very common. When all allies attacking in the same turn are extreme class characters, launches 2 additional supers, and then starting from the 4th turn meets up with Goku. So this is the same exact reversible exchange / tag condition that we see with Vegeta and Gogeta. So they're all pretty easy to remember because they're all just turn 4 right now. So for now, I think the guaranteed crits plus additional super is going to be the most common thing because super class is just way superior to extreme class right now. But if we are eventually able to get this character on like a full villain extreme class team, they actually do 2 additional supers, which can help their defense. This is the only thing that I'm a little bit concerned with is the HP restrictions, right? So when HP is 77% or less, they're getting 50% damage reduction and then 7 key and 77% attack. This to me is a little bit less important, the key and attack, as the damage. Like this is a 50% damage reduction being locked behind 77% HP that's a little concerning, considering they have no guard, they have no dodge, and they have no other way of getting damage reduction. It's pretty much just defense for this character. But we'll see. This is, at least for this one, the key and attack, this is when attacking. So if you start the turn out above 77% HP, but in the middle of the turn you fall below the HP threshold, and then this character attacks, you're still going to be getting this. This one, we'll see. So that's like sort of the one thing I'm gonna have to experiment with and see how that works on my own. This what is this? It's like hard to see what's going on here. Okay, so here we go. This is the Goku side. So we have his super attack effects. We have the greatly raised attack, stacking on the 12 key, that's actually going to rack up pretty quickly. And then he's going to get 1 turn of defense, and then the 18 key. This is actually only a 1 turn buff here. 50% attack, and then 100% defense for 1 turn. Mega Colossal, and then a great chance to stun. So, I mean, this is 100% defense, which is very good, but the stack on here could be really good if you want to stack up the damage for their active skill, because they, of course, do have like what is it called? Like the miraculous conclusion active skill. Right, this right here. So, this character does have 2 active skills as well. I think the Goku side active skill is this one. So it's kind of the scene where Frieza lends Goku his energy when he's like, it's after Goku's first fight with Jiren, and Jiren kind of just sends Goku flying when his Ultra Instinct runs out. And Frieza decides to give him some of his energy, and it's sort of like a callback to Namek. So recovers 77% HP, 59% attack for 1 turn, and then they change physical to Rainbow Key Spheres, which, again, any kind of Rainbow Orb changing is going to be pretty helpful here. And then the active skill condition is just upon entering attacking turn. So this is turn 4. You can use this at the earliest, because this is the first turn. Turn 4 is the first turn where you can actually exchange into Goku or tag into Goku. And then, of course, we have the Frieza one, which is the big attack, the big finale attack that they use to eliminate Jiren from the tournament. Greatly raised attack temporarily, ultimate damage, and within the turn activated, all attacks become crits. So they do guaranteed crits here. And this is simply just turn 4. So very, very easy to do. So once you get to turn 4, you have the tag, which is available. You have Frieza's active skill available, and you have Goku's active skill available. So you have a lot of different options on turn 4 with this character. And that is essentially the Goku and Frieza character. We can now move on to Gohan, which all his animations seemed very, very good. I like this Gohan a lot. All right, so Gohan is a lot of teams, of course. He leads full power, which definitely is... So both of the leader skills we got for the Carnival LRs in part 2 are infinitely better than Giant Ape Power, but Giant Ape Power, I suspect, is going to be okay. I'll just say that. I'm not going to say anything more about that. All right, now we have the super attack effects for Gohan. The 12 key, raise attack and defense for 1 turn, colossal damage. And then the 18 key is greatly raise attack and defense for 1 turn and mega colossal. So pretty straightforward super attack effects. Nothing too fancy here. No stacking, no like always doing 1 turn of a great raise and then 1 turn of a normal. Like it's just very, very straightforward and easy. Now here is where we get into the interesting part about this character. The first thing here activates the entrance animation when there is another full power or Android/Cell Saga category ally on the team upon the character entry. Now, that's not really that bad. Full power, when you're trying to make a team out of the full power category, you're probably going to struggle to find like an exceptional like 6th character for the team and an exceptional 5th character for the team. But to just run one other full power character, to run one other Android/Cell Saga character, that's pretty easy to do. So I don't really have many issues with this. So this is a pretty crazy intro effect, by the way. Launches an additional attack that has a medium chance of becoming a super attack per existing enemy. So if you're up against a stage that has a lot of enemies, you're going to be able to do up to 5 additionals with this. And then aside from that, launches 2 additional super attacks for 4 turns. So if you're fighting 5 enemies, theoretically, if you're fighting 5 enemies, he's doing 5 additionals that each have a medium chance of becoming a super, 2 additional supers, your normal attack, and then the hidden potential system. So you're doing, what is that? 1, 6, 8. He can do up to 9 attacks if you have this full thing up. Now, that's not very realistic. Most events, you're just going to be fighting 1 enemy. But even if you're fighting 1 enemy, you're doing your normal attack, you're doing an additional that has a medium chance of becoming a super attack, then you're doing 2 guaranteed supers, and then you're doing a 5th hidden potential system attack. So you, even against only 1 enemy, you're still going to be able to do 5 attacks, which is pretty crazy. So I actually really do like this effect a lot. His base effects, we have 5 key, 258% attack and defense, guaranteed guard, 20% damage reduction, and then 1 key per key sphere, which is obviously a callback to the original int LR Gohan. And then when attacking, he's getting a multiplicative 158% attack buff. This is, I mean, he's getting a lot of stats here. 158% multiplicative attack, 258% to just base stats. For every attack performed, which is, of course, going to work really well with the intro, up to 5 key, and then 10% stats up to 80%, which is another multiplicative buff for attack, by the way. So he's got the base buff, multiplicative attacking buff when he attacks, multiplicative attack and defensive buff every time he does an attack. And then when receiving an attack, he's got a multiplicative defense buff of 158%. So this guy's going to be a stat monster, is essentially what we're talking about here. Starting from the 5th turn, from the character's entry turn, attack plus 158% and defense plus 58% when attacking with 18 or more key. Once again, multiplicative buffs. Performs a critical hit when activating the active skill or when attacking with 24 key. So he does have this 24 key mechanic, which means you don't really need to give this character crit. He shouldn't really have too many key issues, assuming you have this up, which you're probably going to be able to get this up like turn 1 essentially, or turn 2 latest, is 5 key here, 5 key here, and then 1 key per key sphere. So he's starting the turn out with 10 key, and then he's getting 1 key per key sphere. You really shouldn't have too many problems getting him to 24 key too often. And then when we go to the active skills, or I guess the active skill, which is the Family Kamehameha, massively raise attack temporarily, ultimate damage, 24 key for the turn. So this is going to be a guaranteed crit. And then attack multiplicative 58% for 1 turn. And the condition is not bad either. It can be activated when there is another Kamehameha category ally on the team, starting from the 5th turn from the character's entry turn. Very easy. I mean, this is just a joke. Or when facing only 1 enemy whose HP is 89% or less, starting from the 5th turn from the character's entry. So essentially turn 5, you're going to be able to launch this. The turn where you use this is going to be absolutely crazy, because this is not 58% attack just for the active skill. This is 58% attack for the turn. So if you use the active and the enemy lives, you then have this 58% attack that's going to be factored into your attack stats when you actually do your super attacks. So we have base 258% attack and defense, 80% multiplicative attack and defense, 158% multiplicative attack and defense, 158% more multiplicative attack and defense when attacking here. And then we have a completely separate calculation of 58% attack on the active skill. The turn where you use this, I mean, what is his attack set going to look like? Like 60 million? Like 70 million? Like, I don't... Guaranteed crits. He's doing... I don't know, man. This character's going to be hitting very, very hard. And that essentially is the breakdown for the part 2 characters. We have an initial look at the banners here. I mean, both these banners look insane. We have the Super Gogeta with Int Broly Beast is on here. There's a new banner unit Beerus. If we want to judge how good this banner unit might look, if we take a look at the banner character Hercule from part 1, I mean, he's probably going to be pretty damn good. And then for the Carnival side, we have the 2 new Carnival LRs. Tech Broly is here. This Gohan is here because he is going to be super easying. And then we have Physical Gogeta, and then Future Gohan is here. So this banner also, both these banners look really, really good. And then we have the announcement for the Super Easy A's of Tech Cell, and then the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. I am a little bit curious to see how they handle this Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and the reason why is because the new Gohan has the same name as this guy. So we'll see. Obviously, there is no good perfect cell in the game, so this character getting a Super Easy is really good, but they didn't release any details on these characters yet, so we'll see when they want to do that. But that is what we're looking at for part 2. We do have a pretty nice looking second half to the 10th anniversary. I think they're doing a good job with the characters here. Let me know what you guys think about how these characters are designed. Who do you like the best? Who do you want to summon for? Let me know. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.